YouTube, what is going on? First of all, I want to wish everybody a very happy new year and welcome to my domain expansion Sukuna showcase. So I know it's a couple days late. I've been busy, also have been sick, but we're here now. And typically I normally would be doing all my showcases with the character at 55555, but as you can see, Sukuna is a different animal. Right, so let's go ahead and dive into what he is going to be doing. Now, my skills are all going to be less than 10, but I'm going to be, giving you the information at skill level 10, just so everyone's aware. The first skill is going to be Know Your Place. It's going to be dealing ranged Jujitsu damage to a selected enemy. It's going to fill your ultimate gauge by 100 whenever you use it. Then, you're going to inflict one stack of continuous damage, known as Laceration, equal to 20% of his Jujitsu damage for 3 turns. It's worth noting that each stack of Laceration increases any additional damage by 20%, so ideally you want to be using this to not only get the increase to your ultimate gauge so you can use his domain, which is the key to his skill, but also because of the fact that it's going to allow any enemy with Laceration to receive additional damage that much more potent. Next up is going to be his skill 2, which is going to be known as Show Me. It's going to be a melee taijutsu damage to one enemy. It's going to be doing 3 hits with a medium chance of performing a critical hit. It will then increase his own critical hit rate by 45.1% for 3 turns and increases his own critical damage by 75.2% for 3 turns. So you can see that that part of his kit right there is very important because it allows him to do more damage. It's also worth noting this will not consume any cursed energy. So if you are for some reason not having any cursed energy, you can use this while also being able to increase his own damage. Additionally, is that after using the domain, you are going to be inflicted with skill restriction. You will not be able to use skill 1 and 3. So when the skill restriction is activated, instead of dealing just 350%, it's going to be dealing 451.2% of melee taijutsu damage. And the more your own curse energy he has, the greater the damage increases. And it's going to increase the selected enemy's damage received by 45% for 3 turns. So a very, very strong and potent skill 2 that has a lot of benefit for him in general because of the fact that, you're going to be increasing your own critical hit while increasing your own critical rate, which benefits every other aspect of his kit. Next up is skill 3, Unseen Slash. You are going to be dealing 240% of ranged Jujitsu damage to a selected enemy and inflicts 2 stacks of continuous laceration damage equal to 20% Jujitsu for 3 turns. If your curse energy is 40 or more, it's going to be dealing an increased ranged Jujitsu damage to the selected enemy. And instead of 20%, it's going to be, boosted by the Jujitsu. It's going to be 40%. Additionally, if your cursed energy is 90 or more, instead of the 481, it's going to do 1,203% of ranged Jujitsu damage. And it's going to be stacking 3 stacks of laceration equal to 50% of your own Jujitsu damage. So you can really see here that, if you are stuck skill 1 and skill 2, not being able to use your own curse energy is going to be the real key here. You build up your critical hit rate, you increase your ultimate gauge, and then you activate skill 3, release all your curse energy, and then you go ahead and jump into the domain after using skill 3 at its full potential. Now here's the real kicker of his kit, his domain, Malevolent Shrine. Obviously you're going to be expanding the domain. It's going to grant sure hit effect to himself for 1 turn. It's going to deal 1,684.5% of ranged Jujitsu damage to all enemies for 8 hits. It will then inflict every enemy with 4 stacks of laceration equal to 50% of his own Jujitsu for 4 turns, which is incredible, right? It's just absolutely insane. Then It's going to activate the skill restriction status for 2 turns. As I previously stated, you will not be using skill 1 or skill 3. You are going to be stuck at skill 2, which honestly isn't that bad because you're going to be just stacking and increasing your own critical hit and critical damage with skill 2. Then, you cannot charge your own ultimate skill gauge for 3 turns. It's going to increase the maximum amount of cursed energy by 100 for 6 turns, and it's going to recover your own cursed energy by 200. So, you can really see here that this necessarily isn't the end-all be-all with him because skill 3 is also very, very strong, but the fact that you're going to be able to get back cursed energy is absolutely insane. Another key aspect of his kit is going to be his skills. So the first one here is the reverse curse technique. At the start of the turn, it's going to recover your own HP based on the frequency of hits received. So if you didn't receive any hits at all, you're going to be recovering 6,500 HP with a 20% chance. If you are hit one time for 3,000 HP, you have a 50% chance for 6,500 HP recovery. And if you received 2 or more hits of 3,000 HP damage, it's going to be an 85% chance to recover that 6,500 HP. So honestly, what a lot of people have been doing is using him by himself for hard pieces of content because of the increased chance and odds to be able to heal constantly. So you can really see that he is very capable of being a standalone character and outputting a boatload of damage. Finally is the King of Curses auto skill. He's going to be immune to poison, darkness, soul, stun, and confusion immunity for himself. He's also going to grant immunity to instant death effects caused by soul damage to himself and grants 30% flame resistance to himself. When he performs a critical hit, it's going to increase his own damage dealt by 30%. So you can see that this ties into his skill too, and it's going to recover his own cursed energy by 20. So, and then also the fact that if you are receiving 3,000 HP damage, you are going to have a 50% chance of increasing your own taijutsu damage by 20% for 2 turns, as well as a 50% chance to increase his jujitsu damage by 20% for 2 turns. So you can see that everything in his kit, like just it cycles through. It revolves around itself, allowing him to reach absolute pinnacles that no other character, not even Domain Expansion Gojo, is capable of doing. So we'll go ahead and jump into a piece of content just by himself and see how he does. So we are here at the formidable enemy, and just so you are aware as well, I do have his recollection bit. I have it at limit break level 3, and I have put a universal dupe into Sukuna himself. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be just doing a basic normal attack just to increase his ultimate. As we can see here, it goes up just a little bit, and that's fine if they want to try to take away our cursed energy because of the fact that we are going to be able to activate skill 2. And I want to make sure that I target the... I can't target the guy I already hit. We want to do that. We got our critical hit. So what that's going to be doing is it's going to be increasing our own damage dealt, and it's going to recovering our cursed energy technique by a bit, which is going to be beneficial for us. So we're going to be activating that again. We get increased more critical rates. So that's additional stacks of our own damage dealt, as well as just stacks of everything else. So we can see here we have the domain active, but I do not want to use it at this given point. I want to save it for once we get into the final stage. We want to just keep using skill 2 as much as we can, right? And for here, boom, critical hits, critical damage, everything is just going to be stacking, right? So now we're kind of forced to use our domain, which is going to be fine. It's going to be targeted against everyone, and we're going to see just the absolute damage. I mean, just look at this. That's insane. So, as you can see, we jump all the way up to max curse energy, right? And so we're going to be activating our skill 2. We have the increased damage, increased everything. So we're taking constant hits, and then we recover right away, which is insane. Now we have the maxed version of skill 3. I want to go ahead and pop it. 310,000 damage. Keep in mind, laceration is active, and so what's going to be happening is that this enemy is going to be taking increased damage, and we can use it again to do more damage, and that's an additional stack of laceration. So now we're going to be using our second skill to finish it off. Well, not necessarily. We're going to keep using that to do more and more and more damage and just stacking everything up. One more hit. Never mind. It's all gone. So that's just an example of what Sukuna is capable of. So could I be taking the extreme version on, or extreme 2? Yeah, probably, but you know, mine's not leveled all the way, nor does he have all of his stats completely maxed out. Honestly, Sukuna is the best character in the game. There's a reason why they made him limited, right? And so I definitely think that this should be a target for everybody on global. That's going to be all for this video. Next time, I'm going to try to be using him and Domain Expansion Gojo and just using all the nuttiness that comes with that. So I'll see you all within the next video.